Welcome back, guys. We are going to be previewing and predicting some of the best fixtures that this weekend is going to have to offer. Now, welcome to my new subscribers, and if you are new to this channel, please consider hitting that like button and consider subscribing. That will let YouTube know that you are enjoying this video and others will as well. So we are going to start off on Friday with Luton Town hosting West Ham United. So Luton are coming off of a 3-0 loss against Chelsea, a game in which they showed some good signs in the middle. However, Chelsea's firepower was a little bit too strong for them to handle in the end. Meanwhile, West Ham United are coming off of two humongous victories. The first against the aforementioned Chelsea, who they beat 3-1 with 10 men, as well as a 3-1 impressive victory against Brighton in a game that they played a very good counter-attacking game. What does this tell us about the two teams? Well, West Ham are definitely on the lift. Luton, being new to the league and hoping to chalk up their first victory in their first home game, a game that I expect the atmosphere to be absolutely electric, will be looking to try and at least consolidate themselves in this game. West Ham United, on the other hand, are probably, in my opinion, going to be a little too strong for Luton. Now, I have this game down as a 2-1 victory for West Ham. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it ended as a draw simply because Luton are going to have a formidable force behind them, and that's the 11th man, their fans. West Ham are probably going to try and push Michail Antonio and Jared Bowen and Lucas Paqueta up front a little bit more, and they should be trying to stamp their authority. They should be trying to make sure that this game is as comfortable for them as possible, because Luton will not make it easy. So I have this game going down as a 2-1 victory for West Ham. As far as Saturday goes, we're going to start out with Sheffield United against Everton, a game that I have down to be a 1-1 draw. The two teams are in terrible form. Sheffield United just promoted, still trying to establish themselves back in the league, and Everton carrying on from where they left last season, which is terribly. I have it down as a draw because I just couldn't separate these sides. Now, I do think Sheffield United, being the home team, should be trying to push for a victory in this one, but I think that Everton will at least have some guile to try and salvage something from this game. I've spoken at length about how terrible I think Everton have been run and managed over the last 10 years, with just a little bit of a bright spot in the Carlo Ancelotti season. But Everton have not been good enough. So I have this game going down as 1-1. Sheffield United should really try and get the 3 points. However, I don't see anything that can separate these sides over 90 minutes. Next up, we have Manchester City against Fulham. Fulham last week did a very impressive defensive showing that they ended up drawing the game 2-2 away at the Emirates. They face an equally tough fixture this weekend. However, you know Pep Guardiola is not going to be in this game because he's still having work done on his back in surgery. I think that Manchester City are going to win this game comfortably. I do not see Fulham posing too much of a threat. I do have it as a 3-1 victory. I do hope that Fulham will at least try to show up and make life as tough for Manchester City as they did for my Arsenal. But I'm not going to throw away the fact that I think Manchester City are going to be formidable. Whenever they do have the bit between their teeth, they usually start the season well. They do have some seasons in which they have started poorly, but I don't think this is going to be one of them. I think they are going to take maximum points before the international break, and this one is just going to be another comfortable victory for them. I don't think it's going to be as harrowing, but look, fingers crossed that Fulham will at least try to show something different and maybe snatch a draw. Up next, we have Chelsea against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have been doing well without actually getting the results that I think they deserve. Chelsea, on the other hand, have had an up and down season so far. They have all these new signings, and as far as deadline day goes, they still have a few more to join in. So Mauricio Pochettino has his work cut out for him. This game I have going down as a 2-1 victory for Chelsea, simply because I think they are now starting to get going a little bit, and these are the games that they should win. Both fixtures last season ended as draws, and I was very tempted to give this another draw, another score draw, maybe something of a 2-2, because I think Nottingham Forest are due a point in one of these bigger games, figuring that they faced Manchester United and Arsenal, and they lost both games, while looking relatively okay, defensively solid against Arsenal, and attacking wise, they did well against Manchester United. However, they came up with nothing. I don't think they're going to come up with anything in this game either. I'm going to have Chelsea winning this one 2-1. Fingers crossed that Nottingham Forest will try and get a draw from this. And I say that being objective. I do like what Nottingham Forest have been able to do so far this season, and I just hope and pray that they can at least get something for their fruits of their labor. Up next, we have Burnley hosting Tottenham in a game that Tottenham should really win because Burnley are still trying to play their idealistic football. And we have seen that Tottenham have been gelling well. Everything aside, they did lose in midweek in the EFL Cup. I don't think that we should take too much off of this game. I think that Tottenham have proven to be well managed so far, and they're still getting the bounce off of the new manager that they have. And I think that they are well worth a 1-0 victory. Now, that said, it's not going to be easy because I do think that Burnley will eventually click, and this might be the game, but I don't think so. I think Tottenham are going to be way too strong for them at this moment, and I have them penciled in for a 1-0 victory. After that, Brentford are going to be hosting Bournemouth in a game that I have Brentford winning 2-1. I think that Brentford have started the season off well. That being said, I think Bournemouth are a team that you never know what to expect from. They are definitely going to be relegation candidates, but I do think that in the odd showing, they will show that they have the ability to compete against a mid-table side and maybe surprise one of the top-level teams every once in a while. They tend to do that if you look at their history. So this game, I do have Brentford winning 2-1. I think I'm relatively confident that they are going to pull off the win in this one. And then up next, we have Brighton against Newcastle. Now, Brighton, despite playing well, very well against West Ham, somehow ended up on the back of a 3-1 home loss. Newcastle, who really should have won their game against Liverpool, somehow contrived to lose a game that they won, dominated, and were playing against 10 men and at St. James's Park 2-1. This game, I have Brighton winning 3-2. Reason being, I think Brighton are probably going to be a little bit too strong for Newcastle, and off of Newcastle's soul-sapping loss last week, I just don't know if they're going to respond very well to a Brighton side who are definitely going to try and just keep on pressing and playing the exact same way that we know them to. I have been hugely impressed by Brighton's recruitment, and their capture of Ansu Fati just came out of nowhere, and I think that is one of the steals of the transfer window. I think Brighton are extremely well run. I think they're extremely well managed, and they're going to use this game to show just how good they are. Newcastle, on the other hand, I have had a lot of faith in the last 2 weeks. And while they were not that bad against Manchester City, and while they were great in most of the game against Liverpool, they didn't get anything for it at the end. I think Brighton are going to maybe dominate this game a lot more, and I think that Brighton are well worth just the odd win. So I have this game as a 3-2 win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think there's going to be a lot of attacking football in this game. That's the only way that Brighton know how to play. And I think Newcastle are also going to give them their worth in attacking football. So I'm going to go for a 3-2 home win for Brighton. Crystal Palace are going to host Wolverhampton in the next game. And while Crystal Palace have been very good defensively, they haven't scored much, and neither have Wolverhampton Wanderers. And it is for that reason that I have this game as a 1-0 home win for Crystal Palace. Reason being, Wolves just find it very hard to score. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, are very good defensively. I think that this is the type of game that you will see them scrape a 1-0 win. I think that Wolves need to address the fact that they're losing a lot of their best players at the moment. I just don't know how Wolves are going to shape up. They seem to have a good tactician in Gary O'Neill, but tactics can only get you but so far if you don't have the personnel to try and execute it. So this game is going to be a 1-0 victory for Crystal Palace. That's my prediction. And hopefully Wolverhampton Wanderers will try and get at least something in before deadline day, because it is not looking too well for them right now. Then we have Liverpool against Aston Villa, a game that I have going 2-2, and reason being, that I think Aston Villa are going to be worth a point in this game. Liverpool coming off of one of the best results that you could ever imagine, being one man down, being at St. James's Park, and facing a Newcastle team that had their tails up and were probably gearing up for a huge beating of Liverpool. I think that this game is going to be a toughly contested game. I think that Aston Villa are going to attack. They're not going to be too afraid of the Anfield crowd, and Liverpool are going to play like Liverpool. They're going to give it right back to Aston Villa. I think it's going to be a back and forth game, at least at certain points of the match, especially if Aston Villa do try and go ahead in this game. I have it as a draw. Last season, Liverpool were kind of lucky to escape with a draw themselves at Anfield. Roberto Firmino scoring the goal that he signed off of Anfield with. So I have this game as a 2-2 draw. Liverpool are definitely the favorites, but I'm going to give Aston Villa a little bit of kudos, and I think they're well worth a point in this one. And then finally, we have the game of the week. One of the biggest rivalries that the Premier League has ever known, and probably the most definitive rivalry in the early part of the Premier League. That is Arsenal against Manchester United. So I am going to try my best to be objective in my prediction in this one. Arsenal will win 3-1. The reason why I say that is because over the last few fixtures, it seems like Arsenal, especially at home against Manchester United, seem to have that extra gear, that extra leg up. And while Manchester United are not going to be any slouches in this game, I do think that Arsenal won't experiment as much. I hope Mikel Arteta will try and go for a conventional back four. The Thomas Partey experiment was fine and dandy in the first 3 games, but they are going to need to be solid at the back. I can absolutely see Marcus Rashford tearing Thomas Partey to pieces if he keeps on trying to invert. And Man United will definitely start off trying to counterattack in this game. Ten Hag has shown that he can be tactically competent, and if Mikel Arteta uses this game to keep on experimenting with the Havertz number 8 role, Thomas Partey inverting, as well as Kivior in left back, I can see Arsenal getting caught out. That being said, I do not know what the starting lineups are going to be. Of course not. But I do think that he will use this opportunity to at least try and play a conventional back four. We might see the introduction of Zinchenko, and he might be the one who inverts. And that will mean that maybe Partey and Rice will slot in at midfield. And I think that this might be the game that Kai Havertz might get dropped. Up front, I do see Jesus playing some part in this game. I just don't see him starting. And on the Manchester United side, they have just sealed a deal for Sofiane Amrabat. I think this game is going to be way too early for him to come in. That aside, I think Manchester United will cause Arsenal some problems, but not enough for them to win this game. I don't see them winning it. Quite possibly a draw, but I'm going to rely on recent history. Arsenal have been strong at the Emirates against Manchester United, and I am going to go for a 3-1 victory. That's all for now, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this predictor series. Once again, thank you for any new subscribers. I will welcome you with open arms. And if you want to join this community, I promise you, you will not regret it if you hit that like button down there and that subscribe button. That's it for now, guys, and we will catch each other in a little bit. Peace.